Hello and welcome to this digital drop-in on Laban Movement in Improv. So the idea is that this video will give you all sorts of exercises and skills that you can do from the comfort of your own home. The way that this video will work is that I'm just going to sort of go through it, give you some exercises. Feel free to pause it or wind it back. I'm not going to wait 3 minutes for you to do an exercise because that would be weird to just have me watching you through a video when I'm not watching you. So just pause the video when you need to. Normally these workshops are run by Miss Imp at the Walk Cross every Thursday at 7:30. That's not happening, so we're doing it online instead, and hopefully you can find some of this useful. So Rudolf Laban was a famous Austro-Hungarian dance movement theorist and dancer from the 19th century to the 20th century. He was born in 1879 and he revolutionised the world of dance prior to his death in 1958. He's widely regarded as one of the fathers of modern dance, and his theories about movement have shaped the way that people and dancers have viewed their bodies ever since. His theory of the 8 efforts, in particular, is one that's going to form the bulk of this workshop today. When coming up with a character, there are dozens and dozens, if not hundreds of ways to do it. You can do it internally, externally, through your body, through your emotions, through external stimuli. It's improv. There's no one right way to do it, and it massively depends on the kind of show that you're doing. But I think it's a useful technique to have in our arsenal, the ability to feel the rhythms of your own body, walk out on stage with nothing and just pick a movement and then go with it and have that inform a character. Personally, I find it really useful in musical improv, in the team Rhymes Against Humanity that I'm in, and also the kind of improv that calls for bigger characters than normal, such as when I'm in Epic, the improvised movie, or the improvised Star Wars show, where you've got to really quickly transmit to people that you're playing a very big character. And hopefully it will give you the confidence to try characters that you've never played before, move your body in ways you don't normally do, step outside yourself. From the ages of, I think, 4 to 7, I was the worst ballet dancer in my entire class. So, I'm ready. Yes, we are almost ready to go. One quick thing I will say before we start is that a lot of this stuff is quite physical. So please be aware of your surroundings and do not overstretch your body to do any of the things that I'm doing in this video. So please, everything I'm saying, add the caveat, to your own comfort level. In particular, if you are someone who suffers from accessibility issues or movement issues, you can translate or transplant some of these movements to other areas of your body. So for instance, your hands can be moving a certain way, your head can be moving a certain way, even, we'll talk a bit about the end, your voice could take on some of these characteristics. So there are 1,000,001 ways to go around it. Stephen Davidson in particular has a lot of thoughts on this, so his books are worth a read if you're interested in stuff about that. When preparing to improvise from home, consider closing the curtains so that people passing by don't think that you are in danger. Also, move away your furniture and put away anything breakable. So we're just going to start with a quick physical warm-up. I suggest if your own theatre has its own regiment, then you do that, because I'm notorious for not knowing what stretches do. But here we are. I am stretching my arms to begin with, so shaking them loose after each one. Hold each stretch for longer if you feel like it, but this is kind of a good general stretch that will help you limber up your body. So next I think, yes, we roll the head. Again, don't do anything that makes you uncomfortable. So if you're rotating your neck and there's some resistance, please don't continue to rotate your neck. I don't want to be liable for that. I also like to, when doing this kind of physical stuff, just up and down my shoulders a few times, because you can probably see after each one my shoulders get a little bit more relaxed. So next then just rotate your torso around. I can't do it back the same way as easily as I could the first time. And then rotate your hips a bit just to loosen them up. And then go counterclockwise and clockwise. Jeez. So then we're going to just do some leg stretches. I'm not sure what muscle this is stretching, but I like the stance. It's powerful. So that's one leg stretched and the bent and the other leg stretched backwards. And then you lean back so the other leg is bent and the other leg is stretched outwards. I rotate to the side so you can see it a bit better. At this stage, I'm still wearing my slippers. I give those up in a minute. So then we just do this nice balancing one as well, which I am not good at. But this is also about stretching out your leg. Again, don't do anything that makes you uncomfortable. After this, we do what I like to call a little freestyle stretch. So if there's anything that's giving you particular pain, take a moment to stretch that. I have notoriously weak ankles, so that's what I'm doing here. So this workshop is likely to be very physical, so we won't pay as much attention to vocal warm-ups as we normally do, but you should still do a little bit in case you're intending to vocalise some of the movement that you're making. So we'll just do 2 quick warm-ups. The first one we'll do is a tongue twister, and the tongue twister we'll do is unique, New York, New York is unique, I like unique New York. So we'll just say it faster each time. So unique, New York is unique, I like unique New York. Unique, New York is unique, I like unique New York. Unique, New York is unique, I like unique New York. Fuck. Unique, New York, Ray. Okay, good. That normally goes better when there's like 15 other people in the room. And so the next thing we'll do is just a kind of Mississippi staple exercise, which is called tongue boot camp. Basically, you run your tongue around the outside of your teeth 6 times clockwise, 6 times anti-clockwise, 4 times, 4 times, 2 times, 2 times. And then once you've done that, your tongue should feel nice and limber. Okay, so before we move on to the Laban stuff, I just want to quickly do some a movement fun exercise to just wake up our bodies a bit. So what I want you to do is find a song that you like to dance to, or a song that evokes a certain mood, and just dance to it as big as you can. You can use headphones if you need to, and just dance. And then if you can get the song to stop without you doing it, that's best, but if you need to stop the song yourself, that's fine. Pause the song at a random moment, and whatever pose you find yourself stuck in, that I want you to just find a character based on that pose and then deliver like a 10-second monologue based on it. Normally I'd demonstrate this, but I'm afraid of getting like the video taken down for having too much music in. But I think it's quite a simple exercise. Just dance and then pause and then deliver a quick 10-second monologue based on what kind of character you think would have this pose. To show that you're not alone in doing this, here's a 3-second clip of me dancing. Cool, so it's time to talk about Laban movement. So Laban had divided all human movement into 4 basic components. Every human body, he sort of argued, and especially on stage, moves in 4 basic ways, with these 4 things always changing depending on the kind of movement that you're doing. And those 4 components are direction, weight, speed, and flow. That's direction, weight, speed, and flow. Whenever you move, you are engaging with different directions, weights, speeds, and flows, and changing them is a great way to alter a character quickly. Okay, so the first component we're going to look at is direction. So you can see I've just walked from A to B completely directly, no diversions. Now I'm walking indirectly, so the same way, the same route, but I'm just taking a roundabout route to get there. The next component I think is weight. So my footsteps are really heavy, my body's heavy, everything's dragging me down. And then on the way back, I'm light. My footsteps are light, my body language is light, everything's a bit airier. The next one I think is speed. There I am. So walking really slowly from point A to point B, taking my time. And then, yeah, there I go. So that's going fast. The final one is flow. So this is with bound body language. And then this is coming back with free, open body language. So as a quick exercise, have a go at doing what I just did. So walk from one side of the room to the other. Go across according to the 4 component parts, forward and back, and swap each time. So in other words, walk across the room directly, and then back indirectly. Walk with heavy steps, and then with light steps. Walk with slow steps, and then with fast steps, and then walk with bound body language, and then back with loose body language. So hopefully you found with the last exercise that you were immediately moving in a way that you wouldn't normally move as a person. So we're going to take this a step further now that we've got our 4 component movement parts down. Those are, I know this, what? I'm not looking at the notes on the other, yes, direction, weight, speed and flow. Direction, weight, speed and flow. So yeah, Laban believed that you could combine these 4 component parts, direction, weight, speed and flow, I know it, and call them into what we call the 8 efforts. So these are 8 ways of moving on stage as a character. Each one is built on combining each of those 4 component parts, direction, weight, speed and flow, into different combinations. And these 8 efforts are punch, slash, dab, flick, press, ring, glide and float. We're going to go through all these really slowly, but just to say again, these are punch, slash, dab, flick, press, ring, glide and float. I am saying them in, I don't believe there's an order to them. There might be. If there is, I've definitely got it wrong. But this is the order that I'm doing it. So we are going to go through these 8 efforts one after another. Take it away, Emily. So the first effort we are going to do is punch. This one is as it sounds. It's direct, heavy, fast and bound. You're literally punching with an area of your body. When I do this, I feel like a boxer, quite obviously, or like a shifty mafia man. Effort 2 is slash. This one is indirect, heavy, fast and free. For some reason when I do this, I feel like I look like a teenage boy, like, oh, whatever, mum. Effort 3 is dab. This is direct, light, fast and bound. This one I get very handsy with. Feel free to move it around other parts of your body. I feel like a sort of nervous typist, or like I'm really trying to explain something with my hands with this one. The 4th one is flick. This is indirect, light, fast and free. So again, feel free to move it around your body. I feel like I'm sort of like a nervous magician, like I'm sort of doing spells or something. Our next one is press. This one is direct, heavy, slow and bound. So imagine you are literally pushing against a wall with your body. I like this one because it feels like everything's taking more effort, suggesting maybe age or something. Effort 6 is ring. This is indirect, heavy, slow and bound. Literally feel like your body is a towel and you are squeezing the water out of this. I feel like this creates characters that look like they're quite uncomfortable. Our next one, number 7, is glide. This is direct, light, slow and free. This is the one I definitely do the most in my improv. This makes me feel quite elegant, like maybe a ballerina. Let's see. Effort number 8 is float. So this is indirect, light, slow and free. This feels like a less purposeful glide. It's like you're going in slow motion, or like you're some sort of cliche Shakespearean love interest. So in a drop-in, the exercise I'd probably get students to do would be to do a bunch of scenes, maybe 2 people at a time, and give each of them one of these 8 efforts. So for instance, I might give one student press and the other student ring, and then they would do a scene with those physicalities. And then maybe I'd have the audience try and guess which physicality they were going for. What I'd suggest at home is walk about the space, stand in space, doing each of these 8 efforts yourself. I find it particularly useful when doing this exercise myself to start staying silent and then begin to vocalize it, maybe some grunts, maybe some sort of abstract noises, and then finally add speech as the last thing. Please go back through the video if you need a reminder of any of these styles, or I'll try and post a graphic here, or there'll be a graphic of the description summarising what they are. So that's it. You did it. 8 efforts. Laban movement. Hooray! It's so much more complicated sounding than it actually is. So thank you so much for watching this video. If you want to have more fun with Laban movement and the 8 efforts, there are 1,000,001 ways you can take this a bit further. Oh, it looks like I'm holding the Beatles. Oh, great. So yeah, you can when playing with Laban movements, try shifting them to different areas of your body. I was very army and handsy in my examples because I think it's the clearest way to illustrate it. But you could try moving it to your feet or your shoulders. Like, what would a character who had floating feet be like? What would a character who had slashing shoulders be like? If you're feeling brave, you can try mixing them up. So a character could be punching with their arms while their legs are dabbing, their feet are dabbing. There's endless combinations you could try. Alternatively, you can try holding different objects according to the eight efforts. For instance, a character who passes a mug of hot coffee, who floats it over very, very gently to another character. It's probably a very different character to someone who thrusts it across. This mug is empty. Don't actually use hot coffee to do this. What was the next point? Oh, yes. If you want to learn more about Laban movement in improv, there are loads of teachers who know a lot about this. One teacher I know who's taught this at the British Improv Project is Stuart Moses of the Improv London podcast. So if you've found that you've really resonated with this stuff and you want someone else to talk about this for a while, Stuart Moses is a great option. Find the Improv London podcast, message him, do it. Finally, so this is a very weird time for the arts industry and improv more generally. One thing in Nottingham that we really want to support as a company is those smaller businesses that we depend on that look to be hit the hardest by this. So we're talking about the Mort Cross, where we have our regular Thursday jams, None Such Studios, which is a recently opened independent venue, and the Nottingham Playhouse, which of the three is probably the biggest company. But if you enjoyed this workshop and got something out of it, please, please, please consider donating the £5 or £3 that you would have spent on this workshop in person to donate to either None Such Studios, Mort Cross, or the Nottingham Playhouse. If they stay afloat, we stay afloat. So, hooray. I hope this was entertaining and informative. But I also hope that you stay safe and look after each other. And this might be I hope this isn't the last thing that remains of me. What a legacy. If I die, play this in full at my funeral. Right, bye everyone.